Welcome to our third and final part of the read aloud of Rebel with a Cause, the daring adventure of Dicey, Langston, Girl Spy of the American Revolution. A long title, but a good one. We are returning and at the daybreak here. Dicey has just gone on an adventure, a mission to go deliver news that Bloody Bill is on his way, and the soldiers are going to get caught by his troop if they don't move. She went there secretly. She crossed through the river. It was dangerous. I believe she might have even almost gotten caught. No, she almost got caught last time she visited the camp. This time it was more about just getting there safely in the dark and the cold and through the water. So let's continue our last section here. The next day, Dicey walked to the village to visit Beth. A noisy crowd had gathered on the green. Dicey sat down nearby, patting her dog and listening. "Did you hear?" Dicey heard one woman ask. "Bloody Bill attacked Little Eden yesterday, but nobody was home. No people, no horses or cows, nothing valuable. Some dirty rebel must have warned them," the woman's friend said with disgust. "Did Bill find the camp and kill the rebel scum? He burned cabins and barns and tents and even poisoned their wells, but he couldn't find anyone to kill. Heard he went purple with rage," the first woman reported. "Hush," her friend hissed. "It's that Langston girl." Dicey buried her face in the dog's fur to hide her smile. So it seems like in this situation, we have some neighbors here who want people to be attacked by Bloody Bill. These would be considered loyalists to the British cause. They're people who still want the colonies to be ruled by Great Britain and the King. And so they're on Bloody Bill's team, so to speak. Their main character is not. And I can tell that because they're talking about Bloody Bill attacked Little Eden yesterday. Some dirty rebel must have warned them, so they're saying the rebels are dirty. They're bad people. They're our enemies. So the people who are talking must be the loyalists, people who don't like the American rebellion. Let's continue. Weeks later, a handful of rough-looking loyalist soldiers pushed their way into the Langston house. "Old Solomon," the leader said, aiming his pistol at Father's heart. "Someone saw your son James in a rebel raid on our supplies. We know you're a spy." "Stop!" Dicey stepped in front of the gun. "Don't hurt him." "Move, girl," another soldier ordered, "or he'll send a shot straight through your heart and your father's too." Dicey whipped off her scarf so the redcoat could take better aim. "Go ahead," she dared him. "Shoot." Dicey held her breath and stared into his eyes. No one moved. "Well, boys," the soldier finally broke the silence, "I've met my match. This little lady is as crazy as I am. He lowered his gun. "I think I'll let you live, miss. You and old Solomon, too." He spit, then turned and left, his men following in stunned silence. Dicey spent the next month making new clothing to replace what Bloody Bill had burned as he gutted the Continental's camp. Now that got a little complicated. Let's pause here and look at a couple words there. Gutted the Continental's camp. That's talking about his coming to the camp and burning cabins and barns and tents and poisoning the well. Wow. Okay, and this word Continentals, well, that's referring to the same group as this word, rebels. They're the army that is fighting against Great Britain, the army that is representing what would later become the United States of America. Okay, let's continue with the reading. She gathered more supplies from her neighbors too and hid them under her bed. One day, as she was sorting them, she was surprised by Father's voice behind her. "I'm guessing those aren't wedding gifts," he said. Dicey startled and bumped her head on the bed frame. "No," she admitted, then pressed her lips together. This character's acting guilty, I think. She's startling. She's jumping when her father talks to her, and she's admitting things. She's acting a little guilty. Old Solomon looked at his daughter. After a moment, he said, I'm very proud of what you've been doing. Just please don't tell me about it. My old heart can't take the worry." Dicey gave her father a big hug. That's surprising. We've been thinking of her dad as someone who would not want her to do these things, not want her to go out and risk her life, but in fact, he's proud of her. That's an interesting development. The next day, Dicey rode up the ridge above the Tiger River toward the new camp. James stepped out through the trees to meet her. James is her brother. "I'm on guard duty today," he explained. "May I escort you to the camp, birthday girl?" Dicey smiled, surprised that he had remembered. "Now that I'm 15, I can do even more against the king," she said. "Aren't you doing enough, little hero?" he asked. "Never," Dicey said. "Then I have a favor to ask," James said. "Hide this rifle at home. A Patriot leader will come for it soon. His password will be Daring Dicey." "Oh, James," Dicey blushed. Early one morning, as promised, a handsome young captain came to the door with a group of his men. "Are you Dicey?" he asked with a smile. "James said you have something for me." "I have it right here." Dicey got the rifle from its hiding spot, but when the captain reached for it, Dicey paused. "Say the password first." "A password? Who needs it?" the captain teased. "You've shown us the gun. What's to stop us from taking it?" His men laughed and elbowed one another. Dicey aimed the rifle squarely at the captain's head. Suddenly, no one was laughing. "Oh, Daring Dicey," he whispered, "you are as brave as any soldier." The young captain left with the gun. Next time he would know better than to tease Dicey Langston. One June 1st, everyone gathered at Beth's house for the wedding. "I want to make a toast." James raised his cup of cider to the new couple. "Hear, hear," the family shouted. Dicey stood up and raised her cup to the flag. "Another toast. The Patriots are winning battles. We are going to win this war. 3 cheers for independence. Huzzah! Huzzah! Huzzah!" "I want a star." Amy pointed to the flag. "Put time and work and love into our country, and you'll earn one of those stars." Dicey gave her sister a squeeze. "Huzzah!" All right, so that is the end of our tale of Dicey Langston, who bravely confronted people around her in service of what she believed. She was a patriot. She was someone who believed that her land should be independent from Britain and to rule itself. Here's some more information about her at the end of our book. Dicey Langston was born May 14th, 1766. Revolutionary War battles started when she was 9 years old. At that age, she would never have guessed that a monument would someday be raised in her honor in her hometown. She'd have been surprised that the Daughters of the American Revolution would make a medal with her likeness, and Dicey, who never went to school or learned to read, would be astonished that 240 years later, a middle school would be named for her in Greenville, South Carolina. 6 months after the events in this book took place, the last battle of the war was fought at Yorktown, Virginia. The soldiers began to go home. Bloody Bill fled to a tropical island to escape punishment for his crimes and murders. Some historians believe he was the man who came to the Langston house threatening to kill Dicey and her father. History can verify that when the enemy soldiers arrived at Dicey's doors, she faced them with courage. 2 years later, on January 9th, 1783, Dicey Langston married Thomas Springfield, a Patriot soldier. Many people think Thomas may have been the young captain who came to the Langston home for James's rifle. The final peace treaty between Great Britain and the new United States of America was signed on September 3rd, 1783, giving the United States independence. For his service, Thomas was given 100 acres of land south of Travelers Rest, South Carolina. He and Dicey built a cabin there and lived a long and happy life, raising 22 patriotic children. As an old woman, Dicey often boasted that she had 32 sons and grandsons who would vote or fight for liberty. On May 23rd, 1837, Dicey Langston died at age 71, an American patriot to the end. And if you're really interested, there is a nice little recipe for continental cornbread, just like Dicey Langston would have made for the soldiers in this book. And that is all I have for you at this time. Bye for now.